Thanks for joining us here on Fox 9 All Day. I'm Courtney Godfrey. Well, we have been following the procession this afternoon of Officer Austin Buss. He's a police officer in St. Peter, Minnesota. There you go. There's the shot. He's on his way home tonight after being hospitalized for a week after being shot in an incident there in St. Peter. Just to recap what happened to Officer Buss, this was on June 18th. He was in an officer-involved shooting during a standoff in St. Peter. According to the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, the incident began after Mankato police attempted to make a stop, and that vehicle that they were attempting to stop fled into St. Peter. That driver, now identified as 21-year-old Jordan Michael Donahue, eventually barricaded himself into a home. Authorities say that's when Officer Austin Buss and a Nicollet County Sheriff's Sergeant entered the homes to search for Donahue. The BCA says Donahue fired a shotgun, striking Officer Buss in the arm and in his ballistic vest. Buss and Struckman, the sergeant who was there from the Nicollet County Sheriff's Office, returned fire. Buss was then transported to the hospital. The suspect later was found dead inside the home. We haven't been told details of the injuries that Officer Buss suffered, but we do know that he was transported in stable condition, that he was injured in the arm and in the chest. So his arm and his chest took fire from that shotgun that the suspect used against them. The BCA continues to investigate this use of force incident, and Officer Buss will be placed on critical incident leave. We also have a camera that is in St. Peter right now, waiting to welcome Officer Buss home. I can see that our photographer there is actually beginning an interview with somebody that is lining the route. Grace, are we able to route that in right now and catch a bit of that interview with that neighbor? We are not. Okay. I can see it on my screen in here, so I was wondering if we could. We'll bring that to you later in the show, though, as we continue to follow this procession that is bringing Officer Buss home after he has been released from the hospital. In other news, this afternoon, early voting has officially started here in Minnesota for the August primaries. Eligible voters can request an absentee ballot or vote early in person. No excuse is needed to vote early. Anybody can do it. The primary election is August 11th. Just a reminder, you do have to be registered to vote, though, to do that. So if you do want to vote early, you're going to want to make sure, double check that you are already registered. And then in Inver Grove Heights, the city council voted this morning to approve a moratorium on new data center development. It was a packed room for this city council meeting as the community has become extremely passionate about this issue, expressing their opposition to these types of facilities, specifically the energy use, the water use, and the noise associated with them. But the decision is likely to prompt a lawsuit as the developer behind a proposed 54,000 square foot data center that started this whole debate says the project was so far enough along that stopping it may violate their rights. So Inver Grove Heights, they're making that decision, and likely legal action will follow. And then in Minneapolis, Twin Cities Pride is getting kicked off. The big events officially start tomorrow. They go through Sunday. But thousands are expected to gather in Minneapolis this weekend for one of the largest Pride festivals in the country. It'll feature the annual Pride Parade, live music, vendors, and events celebrating the LGBTQ community. Organizers say that this year's celebration is also a chance to honor the history and progress behind the movement. Grace, any big plans for this weekend?
No. Oh, yes, actually. I thought you were going to ask me if I was going to Pride. I've been a little distracted back here trying to get everything set up. But I'm going to the lake right after the show today, driving 2 hours south to Clear Lake, Iowa, where my boyfriend's lake house is. It's going to be lovely. It'll be really warm. And we're just going to relax, and then I'll be back a little bit next week. But then we're going to go back to the lake to celebrate the 4th of July. They do a huge 4th of July celebration in Clear Lake.
I have never been to Clear Lake, but I hear that it is like very comparable to Cross Lake here, maybe even Lake Minnetonka. It's a very popular cabin destination, but there's also many people who live there year round.
Oh yeah, yep, there are, and it's yeah, I mean, It's they're not cabins, they're more lake houses. Like they
Right.
definitely are.
Right.
My boyfriend's grandparents live there for most of the year. Of course, they're snowbirds and go to Florida for part of it, but for part of the year. But it's lovely. It's very much like
it's their permanent residence. These are 5-bedroom homes with flat screen
Yes.
TVs and a hot
Yes.
tub. These are not cabins. Listen,
Yep.
a cabin to me is like you're living off the grid. There's maybe one TV in the
Yeah.
cabin, and it has like bunny ears to get.
Wow.
There's no Netflix. Yep, this is the kind of
this
cabin
is a vivid
experience.
picture you're painting.
Well, I didn't grow up in Minnesota.
No,
So
you didn't.
The cabin lifestyle to me is very foreign.
Mm-hmm.
And, the family that I married into does have a cabin up north, but it is very much like it just got
A cabin.
It is very much a cabin.
Like an old log cabin.
There is one landline phone.
Oh, I
and
love
there
it.
is one television that I think gets like 3 channels, and you don't get cell service. And the water that comes in through the sink is the water from the lake. And it just got a flushing toilet.
Oh.
Like I'd say 15 years ago. So
Okay.
that is a real cabin. To
Yeah.
me.
Well, are you headed there this weekend, or do you have other weekend plans?
I'm going to take the kids to the zoo tomorrow. So they really want to see the farm babies at
love
the
the
Minnesota
zoo.
Zoo. We'll be going to the Minnesota Zoo. And then on Sunday, we're going to hit up the pool. It's going to be like 90 degrees,
It's gonna
Grace.
be hot. It'll be very, very warm. So everyone that's headed out to Twin Cities Pride
Oof,
or
it's gonna
to the rodeo that we're gonna be talking about later today, make sure you're staying hydrated. But you'll be at the pool. You'll be fine. You can jump in. Sounds lovely.
But put your sunscreen on. We're going to be talking about all that. We actually have somebody coming on to talk about sunscreen in a little bit. So we'll be talking sunscreen. We're also going to be talking about Pride. So we've got a full lineup of news for you here today. We are going to take a quick break. When we get back, we are going to talk about Pride. We've got a special guest joining us who has been a big part of archiving the LGBTQ movement and its history here in the Twin Cities. You're not going to want to miss this. Stay right there. Welcome back. Well, as Pride celebrations kick off across the Twin Cities this weekend, it's also time to reflect on the stories that help shape the LGBTQ community here in the Twin Cities. One local project is working to preserve the voices and experiences of lesbian Minnesotans for future generations. Joining us now is Lisa Vicoli, archivist. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Tell me about this project that you've been working on to archive lesbian voices.
Well, I was for many years, the curator at the Treader Collection in LGBT Studies at the University of Minnesota. We're remarkably fortunate to have an archive and a collection like that in the state. And part of what I realized was that we had less content about the lesbian experience than we had about the gay male experience, and less than we had about. And we also had less about the trans community, the bi community, communities of color. So while I was there, I tried to fill in those gaps. But when I retired, I got to really focus on my community, which is the lesbian feminist community, and the remarkable community that we had in the 1970s and early 80s, which I think most people who are younger or weren't out at that time really have very little idea about.
What inspired you in wanting to restore and archive this history?
Well, I'm doing oral histories with the women who were active at that time. I want to honor the work that they did. The difference in the lives of LGBTQ people today and in the 1970s is remarkable, with our access to systems, with the rights that we have, with the acceptance that we have, not everywhere. A long way from perfect, but we've come a remarkable distance. And that didn't happen by accident. That happened because people from the community got together and organized. So my job, as I think about it now, is to talk with the lesbians who were active in the 1970s and early 80s and record their stories. Learn what they did and how they made the progress that we've made.
Why is it so important to preserve these stories now?
Because we're aging. I unfortunately am also aging. I'm a little bit younger than many of the women that I'm talking to, just maybe even 10 years, but that's a big 10-year difference. And so there were a number of things, there are a lot of things that I've documented that I was too young to participate in, but I still want to capture that. But we are aging. There are a number of women I would love to talk to, but they've passed away. And these were often informal organizations that were run by consensus, and they weren't formal. And so there's not always a paper trail and a lot of written documentation that I can put in a box and archive. So the way to capture that is to collect the stories from the women who are there.
How have you found these women then?
Some of them I know, many of them I know. Every time I interview somebody, I say, who else should I talk to? I do a lot of Googling and searching. I've sent letters off to women across the country, and sometimes they come back and they're like, wow, how did you find me? And others come back, return to sender, person not here, I'm not the Jane Doe that you're looking for. So I've gone to Massachusetts to interview women. I've gone to California to interview women because women have scattered. But their focus is really on what happened in Minnesota.
As you interview these women across Minnesota and across the country who were part of the movement here in Minnesota, are there any stories that stand out to you?
There's so many. I have literally had at least a mention of over 50 different organizations during these interviews. We've conducted 50 of them now. And we've touched on over 50 organizations. So there was a tremendous amount going on. I think the most moving moment that I had was with Karen Brown Courage, who founded the Lesbian Resource Center. And she did that for 2 years and left, and always felt like she'd left something unfinished and hadn't done enough. And in the process of our interview, she really learned she forgave herself. She was 22 years old. She did the best she could at the time. She started this amazing organization that helped a lot of women. So during our interview, she started crying. I started crying. Her wife was standing in the doorway. She started crying. We were all crying. It was just very moving to kind of come full circle on what she had done and what that meant, and that she could now be proud of it.
I don't know, do you feel like lesbian history has been overlooked, or is it just that archiving the lesbian history was overlooked?
In general, history is written by the people who have tools and access, and that tends to be white straight men. Within the LGBTQ community, it tends to be gay cisgendered men. So at the archive, I helped found the largest trans oral history project in the world, and that's at the Treader Collection, to fill in those stories. So those of us who aren't as included in the mainstream have to find other ways to document, which is why I'm trying to grab these oral histories before we lose the stories forever.
I have so many more questions for you, Lisa, and we're going to continue it, but I am getting word in my ear that the St. Peter police officer has arrived in St. Peter. Do we want to take that? There we go. So this is Officer Austin Buss. He was injured in an incident 8 days ago in St. Peter, Minnesota. An officer-involved shooting where the suspect fired his shotgun at Officer Buss and another sergeant. Officer Buss is now home in St. Peter. He was released from the hospital today. And there you can see the end of the procession with the police cars going by as Officer Buss has made his way. All right. Sorry for that little interruption in our
It's nice to have some good news.
interview, right? Some good news. He survived and he's going home to his family, so that's wonderful. I'm sorry we had to interrupt, but we are a live broadcast and we cover what's live and what's happening now in the Twin Cities, and that's what's happening today live. This is also important, though. So, people can visit you at Pride this weekend, right?
People can visit the Treader Collection. So the Treader Collection, again, the archives at the University of Minnesota Libraries, has a history pavilion at Pride every year. It's in the pavilion, the one standing building in the park. It is the only air conditioning that you have access to at Pride. So stop in, cool off, catch up on a little history. The oral histories that I've created are being archived with the Treader Collection. You can find those online. The first 30 are online through the Treader Collection, and you can locate them. You can watch them. You can read the transcripts. You can help yourself to that content.
I've been to the Treader Collection. It's extremely impressive. Rooms and rooms and rooms of stuff. You were the curator there for a long time. Why is it important to have a place where we're actually being thoughtful about preserving this history? You know, not just, obviously you're preserving the oral history, but there are pins and brochures and magazines and all kinds of stuff that's being kept at
Thousands
the Treader.
of T-shirts.
Lots of T-shirts. Yeah.
We as a community, as an LGBTQ community, we're more visible now, but for a long time we were not visible. We were hidden. Our safety, our ability to maintain a job, to maintain our families, to maintain housing, were dependent on our being invisible and closeted. And that has changed, but it's really important, even as things change in our society, that we remember what it was like. Because there's no guarantee that we keep moving forward and that acceptance continues. The rights that we have gained can always be taken away if we don't stay organized and stay vigilant and participate and demand equality and safety.
The Treader Collection is the largest LGBTQ archive in the Upper Midwest.
In the Upper Midwest, yeah.
And it's at the U of M. So when you think about the Treader Collection, when you think about this oral history you're doing, what do you hope in 50 years when people look back or they listen to these oral histories, what do you hope they take away from it?
My focus is on Minnesota, and what I really hope is that people are really proud of what happened in the state of Minnesota. There's often a focus on New York or California and the large communities there. We have a remarkable history in Minnesota of things that happened here, and some of the things happened here before they happened anywhere else, and we should take some pride in that, and we should also remember where we came from and how hard it was to get where we've gotten, so that we never take for granted the rights and the privileges that we have now that many of our foremothers and forefathers didn't have.
The recorded histories that you're collecting, you said, can be accessed online. Anyone can access them.
Yep.
Can anyone participate? I mean, like, if I want to, not me, but if I feel like I was a part of this history back in the 70s, should I get in contact with you? Or
anyone is welcome to get a hold of me. I did an interview with one woman who I got a hold of because their niece or nephew contacted me, said, "Hey, I think you need to talk to my aunt." I was like, "Okay." So
don't know who your aunt is, but I'm open. Yeah.
Anyone who is interested is welcome to get a hold of me. Like I said, we've done 50 interviews. We're going to do probably about 50 more.
Yeah, when is the project complete?
When I run out of steam. And I'm not running out of steam. There's a lot more stories to tell, and I love doing this and feel like it's really doing something important to honor those who came before us.
Absolutely. Where can people find the archives? Where can they find your oral history if they want to check it out?
The best place to get a hold of us, because I don't have a web page, is through Facebook.
Okay.
To Minnesota Lesbian History. We have a Facebook page that will take you to the interviews at the Treader Collection and allow you to contact me directly.
Amazing. Minnesota Lesbian History on social media. You can find Lisa there. You can also listen to these incredible stories that you've been collecting. Lisa, you'll be at Pride this weekend, I presume?
I will be around, yeah.
Okay, great. Lisa Vicoli, the archivist, she's working on the Minnesota Lesbian Oral History Project. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back after this. Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for joining us here this afternoon. Well, today marks the final day of the Special Olympics USA Games in Minnesota. More than 3,000 athletes came here to the Twin Cities from across the country and have spent the last week competing, inspiring, and celebrating the power of inclusion. As the games wrap up, we just want to look back at all the happenings and celebrate what happened here this week in the Twin Cities. Tyler Sarf, the Special Olympics softball athlete, joins us now. Tyler, thanks for joining us on All Day.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Okay, tell me about how this week went for you. You compete in softball. How was it?
Yeah, it was fun. We played a couple of games on Monday, and we got our divisions set for the next day on Tuesday. So in total, I think we might have played 5 or 6 games. So it was a very enjoyable week, despite my allergies kicking my butt. But made a lot of memories along the way.
And how did Minnesota do in the softball tournament?
And I got the proof right here.
All right, gold medal.
Gold medal in division, I believe C.
Okay, well, that's amazing. Congratulations. What an accomplishment. I was going to ask you what your favorite moment of the games were, but I think that says it all. Gold medal has got to top the list. Any other favorite moments from the week?
Meeting a lot of new people from out of state. We have all 50 states here right now, and they're about to head home tomorrow. And I cannot believe how fast this week went by. So we've made a ton of memories in a short amount of time, but I am very thankful to be in this position again. And it's been an honor to represent Minnesota on a national setting and on our home turf.
Was this your first USA Games as a Special Olympic athlete, or have you done this before?
I was at the most recent games in Orlando for bowling, so this is my second time second time on Team Minnesota for a different sport.
What does it mean to you to represent Minnesota at the USA Games?
It means a lot to represent one of the nicest states in the country, and it's also very awesome to represent one of the greatest organizations in the world.
What's it like at Special Olympics, you get to play in softball games pretty often, but it's not often that you get to play against this many teams in a series of games against people from all over the country. What has it been like competing at the USA Games?
Yeah, unlike our traditional competitions, which are year-round, the USA Games for Special Olympics happens every 4 years. So this is a unique tournament to be part of, and I'm very blessed to do it again.
Amazing. Looking back at the week, I mean, I think you would say you're greatly proud of that gold medal, but is there anything, besides the medal, what are you most proud of looking back at the week?
What am I most proud of? Representing Minnesota. Along with my company that I work for, Boston Scientific, they were a sponsor for softball all week, so they got to see me win a gold medal right in front of their eyes.
That is incredible that you have that kind of support. What would you suggest to parents of kids that might have developmental disabilities that are looking at maybe getting involved in the Special Olympics? What's your best advice to them?
Excuse me. I would say just get out there. I mean, it can be frightening at first to meet new people, but once you get connected with everybody, then it becomes a lot more fun.
Now, were you able to attend any, like the opening ceremony, things like that, where, it was a star-studded lineup? Were you able to attend any of those events, and were you able to meet any of the many celebrities who came to town for this event?
Yeah, I got to, we all got to be at opening ceremonies, but we didn't get to meet any of the celebrities that performed. So hopefully Demi Lovato and I can meet one day, because she came to celebrate with us opening night a week ago, and I hope she was watching throughout the weeks, because this is one of the greatest tournaments around.
Well, if Demi is watching, or if anybody watching has an in with Demi, Tyler would like to connect and say thank you for performing at the USA Games, right?
Yes. If any one of you out here has a connection, please send it to me.
That's right. Everybody wants to connect with Demi Lovato, not just you, Tyler.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Tyler Sarf, I so appreciate you joining us. Congratulations on your gold medal in Special Olympics softball, and we'll certainly see you around as you continue competing for Special Olympics.
Yeah, thank you for having me on today, and I look forward to the rest of the summer, because I have our normal regional and state competitions for softball for SLMN, so going to be a busy summer.
Yeah, competition continues even though the games are over, right?
Yep.
All right. Tyler, thank you for joining us. All right, we are going to take a quick break here. When we come back, we are going to talk about sunscreen misinformation. We'll also take a check of the headlines, look at what's trending, maybe check the weather, and all that after the break. Stay with us. Everybody, thanks for joining us here this afternoon. We like to have a little bit of fun on this show. We got to talk about what is happening around the world in some of the craziest news stories. Grace, this is all your fault because you brought this one to my attention. Listen, this was put in the Slack channel just about 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, I know.
And we got to talk about it. Let me just read the headline
Yep,
for the people
go
out
ahead.
there. Former Arby's manager accused of infecting customer with herpes
Oh, Lord.
after intentionally and deliberately spitting on food. Okay, get this. A former Arby's manager faces a felony charge after being accused of spitting onto a customer's food while knowingly having a visible herpes flare. Jenica Church filed a lawsuit against the fast food restaurant after developing mouth sores. Amanda Hendricks was the manager on duty at the time and was allegedly seen spitting into food before serving it to Church. This all happened at an Oklahoma Arby's. Wow.
Wow. This is a true wait, what's happening moment. Because you read this and you have to do a double take. What's crazy to me, maybe I don't know. Maybe this probably isn't the craziest part to you, is that she did spit in the food and she did end up testing positive for HSV1, which is herpes, which I didn't think just like by spitting on someone's food you would be able to spread herpes, but I don't know. This is just, it makes my skin
Just
crawl.
listen, I don't care how horrible a customer is to you. Spitting in food is just atrocious. Please don't do it.
I know you were a
Disgusting.
server. Did you ever do it?
Absolutely not. And I had some horrible customers. I mean, I was waiting tables in college and people would just be so entitled, and so rude. I mean, I had a customer make me cry once. Probably more than once, but I definitely remember one time in particular where this customer made me cry. But yes, they say that the woman says in the article that maybe she was taking a little bit of time to decide on her food orders, so she thinks that ticked off the employees. But she said she took the food home.
No.
You don't want the details?
Go ahead. Continue. I'm just saying. I'm getting grossed out. But continue.
I won't. I will stop.
No,
if you need me
continue.
to stop.
I think the people want to know. I know Kara back there wants to know.
Listen, she says she took the food home to her husband's father and grandmother, who was on hospice care and a vulnerable medical condition. Why do you have me on a one shot right now? You have to be in on this. I'm not talking about this on my own.
Sorry. Okay.
I am not talking about this solo. Let me tell you.
Sorry. Yes, continue.
So she shared the food with an individual on hospice care and a vulnerable adult. Soon after, she noticed flare-ups in her mouth that she had never experienced before. This is like a 40-year-old woman. And then she tested positive. I don't know.
Nasty.
Okay, and because they live in a small town, we get to the bottom of it. Because they live in a small town, she claimed that Hendricks had been bragging to others about spitting in the food. And then surveillance video from the restaurant showed her preparing the food, spitting on meat or sandwich components, and placing the contaminated food in the sandwiches. I'm done.
No, that's it.
Absolutely disgusting.
I'm never eating out ever again. Ever. I'm never eating out ever again.
I'm
going to grow all my food. I'm going to grow it all because not even a chance.
You're gonna kill the cow yourself. Yeah, I get where this is going.
Yep. I'm going to become a homestead girl where I just,
All right. Should we move on to it? I've shut my computer off. I was so disgusted and I can't get it back on. So here we go.
Well, from one crazy thing to another, we do have Dr. Tureen on the line, and there's some crazy things happening on TikTok, and Dr. Tureen's going to fill us in on all of it. But before we get to her, was there anything that you did when you were younger to make yourself a little tanner? Because I lived in Tennessee during high school, and let me tell you, us girls, we were doing some crazy stuff to try to make ourselves have a little bit of a tan in the wintertime.
I've got Dr. Tureen on the line and she's listening, so I don't want to out myself for any bad behavior I did when I was young, but here you go. I went to college in Arizona and we used to go to the tanning bed, do the tanning bed, and then go lay by the pool after. I came home from that first year of college like a whole other skin tone. It was not good, not proud of it. I have been getting my yearly skin check since then. I am clear so far. So I'd like to say, hopefully I've turned the page on that very bad history, that very bad part of my life, okay? But yes, I am excited about this next one because there is a lot of misinformation on TikTok. There's a lot of stuff going around social media in all aspects of our life that we really need to be careful about when we listen. So let's bring Dr. Tureen in. So there's a bunch of sunscreen misinformation that's circulating on TikTok right now. Viral videos claiming that SPF is harmful or even unnecessary. And then there's some crazy TikToks that claim that some certain kinds of soda can get you tan. Dr. Tureen, I mean, what do you think? This TikTok misinformation has gotten a little out of control.
Well, like everything in America, there's polarities, and I'm here to give you the middle, the moderation, because some of it is true, right? A lot of those chemicals we're using, we were never meant to use them on so much body surface area, and we are finding some of those chemicals in the bloodstream. But is that toxic? Is that harmful? And what's worse, getting skin cancer or trace amounts of chemicals in our blood? So those are the questions I'm here to unpack for you all.
Great. Well, a study published in PLOS Digital Health Journal found that the posts that spread false information about sunscreen are the ones that go the most viral. I've got to imagine that's pretty concerning for you as a dermatologist, but I'm wondering how often people are coming into your office and you're having to debunk some of this misinformation.
I mean, all the time, especially now the sun is out in Minnesota, and you may or may not know, your viewers might not know, Minnesota is top 2 in the nation for melanoma. So we are really embracing the sun for all of its good and bad when we do have it. And that episodic high dose sun exposure, we know contributes to melanoma, which is the most deadly form of skin cancer. So it's important that we're wearing our sunscreen. But again, coming back to what I said before, are we using too much sunscreen? Is this getting into our bloodstream and then causing infertility, birth defects, all these kind of things in the future? So there really is a lot out there. Now, in addition to, just going in the tanning booth and then going outside to tan, kids are taking melanotan, which is a peptide that's illegal, to make them more tan. People are taking beta carotene and all these supplements, like you were saying in the soda, to make themselves look, a little bit more tan, but actually they're just looking orange. So there's all these things out there that weren't even there 5 years ago.
Wow, there's peptides that make you look tan. Listen, there's peptides for everything now. I just can't believe it. Some of the misinformation that was out there is that sunscreen can disrupt hormones, is cancer-causing, and contains carcinogens, could even taint breast milk. Is any of that true?
So we know that sunscreen, chemical sunscreen specifically, so the ones that have long names like avobenzone, actocrylene, those types of things, those are found in trace amounts in the bloodstream. They've never been proven to cause breast cancer. They've never been proven to cause any toxicity, but they are found in trace amounts in our bloodstream, in our breast milk, etc. So does that beg to mean that maybe we should be using less sunscreen, only sunscreen on exposed areas, and more sun protective clothing and barrier methods? Me thinks yes, because there's always, chemicals are chemicals. And in addition to getting into our bloodstream, at this time in the summer, start seeing people who are getting sun poisoning, which means that they're getting allergic to their sunscreen and then they can't go outside and they get hives and everything. So I preach to my patients as much as possible, sun protective clothing, hats, and then your sunscreen in moderation. But don't be afraid of your sunscreen. You should use it, because the opposite is extensive sun damage, cancer, even death.
Okay, you keep bringing up chemical sunscreen. I know that there is chemical sunscreen and then there's mineral sunscreen. The chemical sunscreen is oxybenzone, right? That's one of the main ingredients in chemical.
That's one of benzones, or some avobenzone, oxybenzone, octocrylene. Those are the main ingredients. And there's MEBT, which was just approved a couple weeks ago. So that's a new one that, quote unquote, new. It's been used in Europe for about 30 years, but it's new to the US as of this month.
So what's the difference between chemical and mineral? I mean, besides the fact we know that the chemical one, right, goes into your skin more and reflects the sun from inside your skin. But what's the difference, and which one do you recommend?
So as dermatologists, and the discourse of the American Academy of Dermatology, which is our governing organization, is whatever sunscreen you will use, that's the best sunscreen for you. And that might be chemical, that might be mineral. A lot of people like how chemical feels. It's lighter. It's not sticky. For people with brown skin, such as myself, the mineral ones can leave a white cast. So chemical is more cosmetically elegant. Mineral sunscreen, which is just titanium and zinc, so those two ingredients, those sit on top of the skin cells and they reflect rather than being absorbed in. And I was looking for studies prior to this. There are no studies showing that mineral sunscreen gets into the bloodstream. So that makes me feel happy for my children. Since my children are growing and developing, I do tend to primarily use mineral sunscreens on my children. I'm old, I'm cooked. So if I like my chemical sunscreen, I'll use that a little bit.
Well, and I mean, I have some high-end brands. The high-end brands are making chemical sunscreens. You can really get a variety, but yes, on my kids, I do choose to use mineral. So I'm glad I'm on the same page as a smart doctor like yourself. I want to go back to something that you mentioned. The FDA just cleared that new sunscreen option that's been used in Europe for decades. I won't try and say bemetrazole.
Yep.
Great. I got it. So tell me about this new option. Now that it's cleared by the FDA, I want to learn more about it.
So it was FDA approved just earlier this month. Again, it's been used in Europe for over 30 years. It's very cosmetically elegant. It's not sticky at all. It has better UVA protection. UVA is aging rays, and they're longer wavelengths, so they cause more deep skin cancer. So we as dermatologists theorize that it may help reduce melanoma risk. So that's why we like this new sunscreen. You can also call it Tinosorb, Tinosorb. That's kind of one of the brand names of it. So we really like this new sunscreen. But again, for my children who are growing and developing, I primarily choose titanium and zinc.
Okay. What about this claim, back to the TikTok misinformation, the social media information, what about this claim that sunscreen can make you vitamin D deficient?
So that again, that's a lot to unpack. Let me see if I can tell you. So there's kind of this epidemic of vitamin D deficiency because the numbers were kind of, skewed. And especially for, again, brown people like us, we can't make vitamin D from the sun. We already have so much pigment, so any sun that we're getting is not making sufficient vitamin D. But the levels of vitamin D recommendations have changed ever since I've become a dermatologist, so over the past 20 years. So we now know vitamin D is crucial. It is so important. It's not just a vitamin, guys, it's a hormone. It helps prevent breast cancer. It's really good for our health. It's good for our bone density, et cetera. So we know vitamin D is important. How much vitamin D is safe to get from the sun is really controversial. It depends on your risk factors. Let's say you've got a lot of family history of melanoma. You yourself have had melanoma, multiple non-melanoma skin cancers. You probably should not be getting enough vitamin D that you can manufacture it from the sun. You should be getting vitamin D from supplements. And that's one of the most common things that I tell my patients: get a little extra vitamin D in your supplement. Vitamin D is a fat soluble vitamin, so make sure you're getting it with food so it really gets absorbed into your body. So for most people, vitamin D supplementation is necessary. And think about it, in Minnesota in winter, you could be lying outside all day long, and the studies have shown that you cannot manufacture that vitamin D.
Okay, what about this claim that sunburns aren't dangerous? Is that true?
So sunburns are dangerous. Not only are they dangerous, they're painful, right? So who wants to go through that? We have such a short summer. Do you want to be blistered and red? Sunburns are dangerous, particularly as we're talking about our children. Sunburns before the age of 18 really substantially increase the rate of skin cancer. So we should be using our mineral sunscreens on our kids and not letting them get burned at all. Even one sunburn can increase the risk of skin cancer in some studies by 15 to 30%, and multiple sunburns have a cumulative effect. And a lot of my patients now are 50, 60, 70, 80. They recall that terrible sunburn. And then when I'm taking a melanoma off their shoulder or their back, they'll say, "Oh, I remember when I was at the water park when I was 14 years old,
Yeah, well, 36% of Gen Zers surveyed say they turn to influencers as their primary source of skincare information. That's gotta concern you. I mean, as a doctor, what do you think about that? 36% of Gen Zers turning to social media for skincare advice?
Well, again, there's so much out there, and there are some really great influencers or people who are preaching protection, moderation, etc. So I think, all influencers get a bad rap. I've got 3 teenage sons, and just like you were saying, they follow some influencers who support peptides for everything, and then I see all the negative effects of peptides. My patients who are teenage girls, they come with really a lot of fallacies about acne and using multiple skincare products, and they're getting terrible acne. So there are the bad influencers, but there's also the good influencers. And I hope as doctors, we can be part of the influencer crowd to get true data-driven information to our patients. I always tell my kids, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. So
Yeah, if you're taking advice on social media, maybe make sure that they're an MD or an RN before you take it as the truth. So another social media trend, I did not know about this until my 20-something producers told me, but apparently dousing your skin with Coca-Cola is the secret to a deep tan. People can't be serious about this.
I mean, all these things. Remember, we used to use baby oil. Now it's Coca-Cola. I really think it's because it's like making you look a little darker as you're doing it, but there is no science behind that other than, as you know, water and any liquid can kind of magnify the rays. Just like when we're out on the lake, 10 to 15% more rays get into our sun because of the reflection of the liquid. So I think that is all that the Coca-Cola is really doing.
It's not helping you get tan. It's not, people.
And it's
Not-
attracting bees, and then you're coming to me with like terrible bug bites and allergic reactions.
Exactly. That's the only thing you're getting from dousing yourself in Coca-Cola. But apparently this is a thing. People are dousing themselves in Coca-Cola to get tan. I read that there maybe is a resurgence in young people, showing up to the dermatologist's office with precancerous cells and talk to me about, are you seeing a new increase now with young people?
Well, it's good because in Minnesota, as you know, about a decade ago, we passed a law that under age 18 do not go in tanning booths, and that has helped substantially. But there is now, again, with good social media, information that the most common cause of cancer in young people, in young women, is melanoma. So I'm seeing a lot of very smart young women changing mole. They come in and we get these spots before they become melanoma. So again, I'm happy that they're a social, because now there's recognition that even young people can get skin cancer. Skin cancer is not a disease of the elderly. In fact, melanoma in young people is much deadlier. It goes to the lymph nodes much faster.
Wow. A lot of information out there on the internet. You got to make sure that you're filtering the good and the bad. Dr. Tureen, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
All right, that was Dr. Mohiba Tureen from Tureen Dermatology talking about the sunscreen misinformation that is all over social media right now. We are going to take a quick break. We'll be back after this. Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for joining us here on Fox 9 all day this afternoon. It's almost 3 o'clock. We've got a couple more hours of this. You get a couple more hours of me. Lucky you. But I can't do this alone, so I bring in the lovely Grace Henry.
Hello.
Grace, this is the segment that we like to call,
Wait,
what's happening? Oh, I love it when I can get people to say it with
yeah,
me.
I know you do. I know. It brings you the joy. Yeah.
It does. You know, I played violin as a kid.
I didn't know that.
Yes, I was in music. Well, my dad was in the music industry, so I love, I love a little melody.
A little melody. You are a good singer. You were singing
you
today
know?
in the office. You were singing today in the office. The Jolly Pops. Hey, if you're a band member of the Jolly Pop, know a Jolly Pop, we're trying to get them on the show. Please tell them to email me. Yeah, because Courtney is their #1 fan. She'll wear your merch. It'll be a really great day when we get the Jolly Pops on the show.
I love the Jolly Pops. They're the best kids band, and they're here. They're from Minnesota. They're a bunch of dads. Anyway, come on the show. I'd love to have you. So wait, what is happening? This video is pretty stunning. We all get Amazon package deliveries, right? But this one just, I don't even know what to say about this. An Amazon delivery driver steered across the southern Indiana couple's freshly cut lawn to complete a drop-off this past Sunday. I mean, what? So,
What? You know,
the couple-
again, this is a wait, what's happening?
No, yeah, wait, what is happening? Like, have you lost your mind? So the couple told media outlets that the driver had bypassed both a driveway and a sidewalk and drove directly across the yard to reach the front door and deliver the package. The driver is then seen performing a U-turn. By the way, is this video just frozen or?
No, he just takes an extremely long
Okay.
time to get out of the vehicle.
Okay. I thought maybe we were having some technical difficulties, but no. It looks like it's a woman, by the way.
Oh,
But
sorry. She.
you misidentified her, but she takes a long time getting out of the car. But then check this out. Apparently, she's going to then do a U-turn to exit the lawn, leaving a massive trail of tire marks in the grass. Let me tell you something. If an Amazon driver did this to our lawn at our house, my husband would call the National Guard.
I believe that. I
He
believe that.
prides himself on. He was so pleased yesterday because the lawn had the perfect lawnmower
Oh yeah.
lines.
And
Look
this
at
lawn, this lawn does. You can see like it looks very well done, but isn't that crazy?
Can we get an update on this woman's status at Amazon? Is this woman still employed at Amazon? Because the people need to know.
Yep. So the couple says they're in contact with Amazon regarding the incident. They said the company offered to repair the damage to the yard and they're investigating the matter internally. So
Do not do this at our house. I'm telling you, it will not end well for you. You destroy my husband's lawn and you will be taken to task.
and it is gorgeously mowed. Like you can see the lines in there. I can't imagine. Like growing up, I was not allowed to drive pedal my bike through the yard because it would leave the tire tracks. I would never dream of driving on a lawn. But
I
don't
I
know.
am going to say something defamatory about the people in Southern Indiana because I am familiar with Southern Indiana. I worked in Louisville for several years. I'm not totally surprised to see this behavior out of the Southern Indiana people. I'm not. They're lovely people, but there are different things going on over there. So,
I hear you.
all right. And then in World Cup soccer news, I feel like we have a World Cup soccer themed Wait What's Happening every day.
Well, that's what's happening, the World Cup, every day on
And-
Fox 9.
Well, and the Europeans and these aren't Europeans, but the Europeans just continue to impress us here in the U.S. with how much they love America.
Yeah.
By the way, I love the videos on social media that are like, we have been lied to. America is amazing.
It's amazing.
We love it here. We have been lied to for so long because they're falling in love. They're falling in love with the ranch dip.
Yep.
They're falling in love with the cowboy hats. They're falling in love with the barbecue.
With Costco, I saw this video on TikTok of these girls probably about my age, their early 20s. They went to Target and they're like, we're going to Target. We think we're going to spend $25. They'd come back. We actually spent $200
Yeah.
a person. It's like, stop hating on the United States of America. We're not
I think
perfect,
the
but
hate
we've
is
got
gone,
some good
Grace.
stuff. I
think the hate is gone. The World Cup has healed.
the world.
So many wounds have been healed by the World Cup.
So many wounds, and I mean, if you come here, I mean, the Scottish people that we had on that Pierre talked to earlier this week, they were getting free drinks. I mean, we are gracious people here in the United States of America, and specifically here in the Twin Cities.
So Japanese soccer fans went viral this week for their good manners and civic duties, their civic mindedness, after they were spotted helping cleaning up the Dallas stadium following a World Cup match last week. Another fan captured this video of the soccer fans collecting trash after the match between Japan and the Netherlands. And the person who took the video said she just had to record it because she was just struck by how clean they were. Their team didn't even win. It was a draw, so not horrible. They didn't lose, but their team didn't even win. And they're like, we want to leave this place better than we came.
From the way we found it.
Yeah, that's great.
Lovely.
That is great. When you go to the stadium, Grace, do you just leave your trash on the floor, or do you take it to the receptacle? I want to know. I want to know what kind of a person you are.
I will say, like, if it's a water bottle, I have left it. But if it's like a plate of nachos or food or an ice cream cup, I will take that to the trash. But I have left like a cider can or something.
So this is a debate in my
ground.
household, because some people in my house think, well, there are people that clean up the stands after the game. That's their job.
Yeah.
Like, they're going to come through. And I'm like, oh, it's just rude. Like, don't leave this here.
Yeah.
So
It does. But
I could see both sides.
I know. It's hard because, again, everybody does it. It seems like that's kind of their job, but it does feel a little bit rude. But what really stinks is when you're trying to leave and you're in a horde of people and you cannot make your way to a trash can, and then you get spit out of the arena and you're on the street with an empty can of alcohol, which has happened to me. So
Okay, then maybe cleaning up is not for the best.
yeah, that's
Just
what.
leave it.
Yeah, because
Just leave it. There are people who are supposed to
Yep.
clean up, but this is great. I love, they're so clean. They wanted to leave the Dallas Stadium better than they found it. Kudos to the Japanese fans at that World Cup match. We are going to take a quick break. That is the end of our social segment. We have so much fun here. Man, let me tell you, we just love to chit chat. But we are going to take a quick break. We'll be back to the news after this. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. Currently 77 degrees here in the Twin Cities metro, and things are about to turn up the heat. Monday, it's expected to be in the 90s, so get ready for that, Grace. Over the weekend, though, there is some stuff going on. If you don't mind the heat, or just slather on the sunscreen, put on a hat, bring one of those portable fans. Mystic Lake Casino is hosting Rib Fest.
they sure are. Have you ever been to Rib Fest? I know you're a vegetarian. I didn't know if you'd ever been out there for a live shot or something, Courtney. You're a journalist.
Grace, I am a vegetarian. I'm the worst person to
Hey.
talk about this.
Hey, okay, I've been to Rib Fest, and let me tell you, as someone who loves to eat meat and just loves Southern barbecue and all types of barbecue, it's fantastic. They've got amazing stuff there, and it will be hot because it's on concrete. And we have some guests that are going to talk to us in a minute about it. But I just had to let you know, they do have vegetarian options there. They have really great like banana pudding desserts and things like that. So I think it's still worthwhile for you to check out, even if you are a vegetarian.
Okay, so Grace feeling right back at home in Tennessee. Grace grew up a majority of her childhood in Tennessee, so she loves Rib Fest. So yeah, you're gonna find the world's best pit masters and free concerts at the Great Midwest Rib Fest. It started yesterday at Mystic Lake Casino Hotel. Let's take you down to Prior Lake. They are muted right now, but we're gonna get them off mute. And as soon as they are off mute, we are going to toss it down there to them. But again, this is the Great Midwest Rib Fest happening at Mystic Lake. Grace tells me there are vegetarian options, so if you don't eat meat, that's okay. But they are going to have vendors there from all over the Twin Cities who are going to be offering up all kinds of meat and barbecue. They're having some technical difficulties I'm watching them over there, so... Oh.
Yep, we'll come to them in just a minute whenever we get the audio issues worked out. But like you were saying, there are a ton of vendors. It's in the parking lot. You got to come hungry because you're going to want to try everything. I was there a couple of years ago. There was a barbecue, my gosh, what do you call it? Barbecuer from Australia.
Okay.
And that was the best
Was his
barbecue I've
name
ever
Paul
had.
Millgate?
It was not Paul Millgate.
Oh,
no.
right.
No, I don't think Paul was living
Paul
there.
Millgate is from Australia, so I thought maybe he had made it.
I didn't know they even really had barbecue in Australia. I think we might have gotten the audio worked out.
I was just looking up what it costs to go to Rib Fest. Grace, do you know that by chance? There's no admission. Okay, so obviously food and drinks are going to cost you, but there is no admission to get in. It sounds like our guests down there at Mystic Lake are ready. This must be Tiffany Allen. Tiffany, how's it going?
Hey, it's going well. It's a great day to be outside enjoying some barbecue.
Okay, so tell me what you got going on there for Rib Fest.
Absolutely. It's 3 days of live entertainment. So today we have Gabby Barrett and Parmalee, and then tomorrow we have Rick Springfield and the Suburbs. So that'll be really, really exciting. We also have some free entertainment on our side stages. And of course, all the barbecue you could consider eating, as well as Hockey Mom's brownies, Ben & Jerry's ice cream, and of course, the famous corn on the cob.
Okay, I love it. How does it compare to the corn on the cob at the State Fair?
I'm a little partial to what we have going on here, but to be fair, the line is a little bit shorter, and that's really my favorite part.
Okay, great. Okay, so it sounds like you've got live music, some big name acts too, along with food. Sarah, give us some tips. If I'm interested in coming down there, what should I know before I go?
Absolutely. So like I said, admission is free. You can kind of park all over the Mystic Lake campus, as well as at Dakota Sport and Fitness. We're shuttling folks over to Rib Fest. And then, of course, when you're done outside listening to music, getting your ribs, you can go inside and enjoy some of the fun entertainment inside as well. We've got multiple food outlets, live music. The party just really continues to go throughout the weekend.
And what time does it start? I mean, right now it looks like you guys are just getting ready to welcome guests.
Yes, absolutely. So doors will open here at 4 o'clock today, and then tomorrow around 1 o'clock, with the rib eating competition coming up at 4 o'clock tomorrow.
Okay, so tell me about this rib eating competition. Is there, I mean, it seems like that's pretty unique.
It is, yes. It's an aggressive amount of pork, I think, in terms of what the record is. It's over 13 pounds in 12 minutes. So we have competitive eaters from Major League Eating from all over the country coming to try their hand to see who can have the most barbecue in a sitting.
Wow.
So really, it's something to see.
Wow. Okay, so you can watch that food eating competition live.
Yes, you can watch it right here in front of your eyes. You won't miss a bite or, in some cases, the splash zone. So, it's advised to stand safely.
Okay, and I understand that we actually have someone there who is one of the, do we call him a rib master?
We have our folks here from Maverick as well, who are experts in the barbecue space.
Okay, we need some barbecuing tips from Maverick. Are they able to hear me?
I am.
Okay, cool. Okay, so talk to me about, like, why do you want to be a part of this? Why do you want to bring your meats to this Rib Fest?
Ooh. Grilling our temperature is really important to grilling. The biggest mistake we see with a lot of people that barbecue is just guessing. If you don't use a thermometer, you don't know if your food is undercooked or overcooked. And basically, if you're not using a thermometer, you're just winging it.
Okay. And can anybody cook ribs? I mean, I feel a little, I'm scared to cook ribs. They seem like something that you have to be an experienced chef to do.
Yeah, anybody can barbecue. What we do at Maverick is we try to have the best barbecue tools to make this as easy as possible for you. What we do differently is we're the only company sourcing all the parts inside the thermometers themselves, which makes it much, much easier to use for you.
So it looks like I can come to Rib Fest. I'm not only able to buy ribs, I'm able to buy the equipment to make them at home.
Yes, or learn about the equipment or the companies or everything you need to know to do anything barbecue.
Okay, and it sounds like you guys might be running a special for Rib Fest.
Yes, yep. We're running 20% off our website the entire time for Rib Fest, and we have some other giveaways with free thermometers behind us for people that follow us on social media, as well as some grand prize giveaways as well.
How many flavors should we expect to experience if we come down there?
Oh gosh, I'm just looking around at all the different stands. I don't even know if I can answer that question. Probably a zillion, to be honest.
A zillion sounds good to me. And if you're not into ribs, like if you don't eat ribs, maybe you don't eat meat at all, are there going to be options for those people?
Yeah, I mean, one of our staff members is actually vegan, and she was able to get that banana pudding, and she even likes, there's all kinds of live music, so it's a very high tempo, basically an adrenaline going type event.
Okay, very good. What is your biggest suggestion to people who come down there and want to visit?
Ooh, definitely to come see the Kitchen Supply booth. We're a family-owned business out of Burnsville, Minnesota. You can find most of our products at high-end retailers like Williams-Sonoma and Crate & Barrel, Ace, and Kohl's, and many more. But yeah, just take it all in.
Okay, it's going to be pretty hot this weekend. Are there places there where people can cool off? Do you know? I mean, water stations or anything like that?
You know what? They did an excellent job here at Mystic. It's like unbelievably clean and organized, but I actually walked through on the way in and there was a nice fan with a cool water mist. There's tents in front of me that I'm looking at. There's water stations. There's spotlessly clean restrooms. So yeah, there's lots of places, and I'm sure you can walk into the casino as well and go back into the air conditioning.
Okay, they are preparing for the heat there. They're ready. I appreciate you guys for joining us. The Midwest Rib Fest is taking place today throughout the weekend at Mystic Lake Casino. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back after this. Myself. There we go. I was like, my microphone's not on, people, but as I was saying, thanks for joining us. It's currently 3:20 here in the Twin Cities Metro. Let's take a quick check of your headlines. Well, early voting started today in Minnesota for the August primaries. Eligible voters can request an absentee ballot or vote in person. No excuse is needed to vote early. You do just need to make sure you are registered ahead of time. The primary election is August 11th. And a St. Peter police officer is now home after a frightening encounter in the line of duty. Officer Austin Buss was released from the hospital today after being shot during a standoff last week. Community members and law enforcement were gathered along the route. It's about an hour-and-a-half drive from the hospital in the Twin Cities to his home in St. Peter, and they lined the route to welcome him back. As he continues to recover from his injuries. He was shot in his vest and his left arm. And the Inver Grove Heights City Council voted this morning to approve a moratorium on data center development. It was a packed room for this city council member as the community has been extremely passionate on this issue. They're opposed to the facility based on their concerns about the environment, water use, and the noise associated with these data centers. But this decision is likely to prompt a lawsuit. The developer behind the proposed 54,000 square foot data center that started this debate says the project was far enough along that stopping it may violate their rights. And the Twin Cities Pride celebrations are officially underway. Thousands are expected to gather in Minneapolis this weekend for one of the largest Pride festivals in the country, featuring annual parade, live music, vendors, and events celebrating the LGBTQ community. Organizers say this year's celebration is also a chance to honor the history and culture behind the movement. Grace Henry, you've got some big plans this weekend. You're heading up to the cabin. It's going to be getting hot this weekend. Saturday, the temperatures start to turn up, and then by Sunday, we're expected to be like 90 degrees. So bring your sunscreen. I hope you packed your swimsuit. You're going to need to jump in that lake.
I sure did, and every time we talk to Dr. Tureen, it's always like, oh, I really need to take better care of my skin. It's like a wake-up call because, yeah, I mean, I didn't get to say what I did in high school, but we still use baby oil. I know she said that something that people did in the 80s and the 90s, but in Tennessee, my friends and I were using baby oil on our legs to get a little bit of a deeper tan. So we will not be doing that this weekend. I do have some sunscreen, but right now it's lovely. It's 77 degrees, feels like 78. That's perfect. Like that is my perfect temperature. Like
as soon as this show is over, we've got a pool party to get to.
Fun.
I am very much looking forward to it. It's a great night for it. But you brought up Tennessee. Speaking of Tennessee, Dolly Parton was sparking some concern yesterday at the opening of one of her new restaurants. So she's 80 years old now. She showed up to cut the ribbon at the grand opening of her new Tennessee travel center. I'm sorry, it's a Dolly's Tennessean travel stop. Well, have you ever been to Dollywood?
I sure have.
I figured
it
since
is
you lived in Tennessee.
Amazing. I love Dollywood, and it's just your typical, amusement park it's really well kept and really fun rides. But there's this exhibit in Dollywood that takes you through the story of Dolly's life. And by the end of it, I was crying because she is just so amazing. Like in my head, she is like royalty. If we had royalty in the United States of America, she would be our queen. She's just amazing.
Well, so she's added to Dollywood. Apparently now she has a truck stop.
Oh yeah, I mean, why not? It's Dolly's Tennessean travel stop in Cornersville, Tennessee.
Yeah, it's like a gas station. It's like a
like
it's
a
Quick
Buc-ee's.
Trip.
You know what a
Quick Trip.
Buc-ee's is?
Yep, a Buc-ee's. That's what she. But I guess there's some concern because she looked kind of frail and shaky.
She has been having some pretty, not public health scares, but she's been pretty forthcoming that she's been struggling with her health. I think she's been even asking for prayers, which has, worried people because she makes a lot of statements and she cares a lot about her fans, but she's been pretty quiet. And then when she asked for prayers, that sparked a lot of concern among her fandom. But yeah, I mean, she was dressed in her signature sparkly skin tight ensemble yesterday.
She looked fabulous. Let me tell you.
Yes.
When you put this talker in that said people were concerned, I'm like, I didn't see the whole clip. I just saw like a picture and I'm like, this woman, I guess people were concerned she was shaky, whatever.
Right.
She looks so fab for 80 years old in her sparkly little jumpsuit. Go girl. Okay.
And she's
I'm not
just the
concerned
most
about Dolly. I think Dolly's fine. Dolly's fine.
That was her first appearance in a while. So I
yeah, she's probably having some
I
health
hope she
issues,
lives
but-
on to 150 because she is the best. She's the best. And if I ever make it to Cornersville, Tennessee, you bet I'll be making a stop at the Dolly's Tennessee.
You're going to
travel
fill up
stop.
at the Donnie's.
Oh,
Did
yeah.
you know this too? In other news, in other widely reported news today, apparently we got released a list of America's most trusted brands.
Yeah. Yep.
I guess Americans, here's the top of the list, top 5, Dawn dish soap, Band-Aid, Google, Dove, and PayPal.
Okay. I'm a little, I don't know. I don't know about this list.
You don't trust PayPal
I
or
don't-
what?
maybe-
Which one is causing you?
PayPal, any like money app kind of stresses me out.
Google?
Google, no, I don't know. Like none of these. The one on the list that I'm like, yes, absolutely, is Heinz ketchup because Heinz ketchup is the best ketchup. And if you try to eat any other, I can't eat any other ketchup besides Heinz. So the only one that I really feel strongly about on this list is Heinz because I get the generic of Dawn dish soap. I get the generic Band-Aids. I get the generic like Dove soap. Like I am not a brand loyal person.
Yeah.
I always get the generic, except when it comes to Heinz ketchup.
Toilet paper for me is one that I just
Oh
can't.
yes, yep.
I gotta get the brand name toilet paper. I just think the flimsy, cheap,
One
knockoff-
ply, yeah.
One ply just doesn't do the tush good. So I think you gotta stick with the brand name. I knew she was gonna go off camera. Every time I make her laugh, she goes off camera. I'm not done with you, Grace Henry. Mountain Dew will be dropping. I'm gonna switch off this topic because you can't handle.
No, I
about
can
toilet
talk
paper.
about it. Yeah, I can talk about it.
Mountain Dew will be dropping 5-cent soda bundles exclusively on its TikTok shop for 3 days. So coming up in just a few days, June 29th and June 30th and July 1st,
Yeah.
you can get 5-cent soda bundles.
Yeah, because people were saying they miss being able to buy pop for a nickel. And so Mountain Dew is deciding to release 5-cent sodas. But there's only 1,948 bundles.
Oh,
so
come on.
you gotta, if you want it, you gotta really get on top of.
That is going to be gone in
Exactly.
like 1 second.
And speaking of something I don't trust, that is not a dependable or trusted brand, is TikTok Shop. I flat out refuse to buy anything on TikTok Shop. I think it's a little sketchy, but I don't know. Maybe we can get someone on the show to talk about if we really should be afraid of buying things on social media apps. But yeah.
There you go.
5-cent bundles. I'm not a Mountain Dew person. I don't think you're a Mountain Dew person either.
I'm not really a soda person in general. I mean, sure, Mountain Dew's fine.
Yeah.
I'll never forget the story of one of my son's classmates. My son is in kindergarten.
Oh, okay.
And one of his classmates, the mom thought it was okay to serve Mountain Dew at the birthday party. Do you know that Mountain Dew has caffeine in it?
Yeah, not like just straight up Mountain Dew. Wow. Did he drink some?
When I tell you that this was like coming off a drug high,
I can imagine.
it was the worst night of my life.
Yeah. How long what time did he go to bed?
I don't remember, but it was ugly.
Never.
Grace.
He's still awake
He's
to
still
this day.
awake. He is still awake. Okay, we've got Pierre Nugent in studio. We're going to talk World Cup and a whole lot of other stuff that's trending in sports after this. welcome back. Well, World Cup fever has swept the globe. It's certainly swept the nation here. And by the way, I love that the Europeans are falling in love with America. I love the social media clips that are like, they've been lying to us all along. America's amazing.
Yeah, it is.
The World Cup is healing the world, and I love every minute of it. I'm not even a soccer fan, but I love what is happening.
We are on a ranch dressing shortage here in the United States, I think. I think they've actually did tell people to stop packing your ranch dressing bottles on your way back to Europe. That's a little bit of a TSA no-no.
Yeah.
So please stop doing that if you're still in the country, but enjoy as much ranch dressing as you possibly can. And everything else America has to offer, the World Cup rolls on.
And America had a big game last night. I mean, it didn't really mean anything, but it was prime time. It aired at 9 o'clock last night on Fox 9. They lost.
They did at the very last second, too. It was 2-2 going into the final minutes of last night's match against, is it Turkey? Is it Turkey? Is it, all my life it has been Turkey, Grace, so I don't know what they're calling that country these days. I think it's like Turkey now.
When I saw the listing for the matchup, I was like, what is Turkey?
Turkey?
It's Turkey, right?
Turkey. I mean, it's
Have
always
we
been
changed
Turkey
the
to us.
name?
Yes.
Anyway. Turkey had not won a single game.
No, actually, and they had, I think they were in an infamous position of having the most amount of shots on goal without scoring a goal in the first 2 matches of the tournament, and things did not go their way through the first 2 games. They do come away with 3 points in the end, but it's meaningless to them because they've already been eliminated. The USA, this result, I have to be honest, at the end of the match, after they lost, and we're talking about in the very last second of the game, Turkey found a way to score and take a 3-2 win. I texted a friend of mine and I said, I'm not really sure how to feel about this result, because at first I thought to myself, well, you know, it doesn't matter because the USA has already won the group and they've secured their spot in the round of 32. But in turn, I thought to myself, I don't love the fact that they lost in the way that they did. And my initial thought was maybe this will be good for the team. But then again, I thought to myself, I don't think losing is never good. It's never good, even if it doesn't matter. I don't like going into the knockout round with this little bit of bad taste in my mouth. After we just saw 2 spectacular matches from the U.S. to open group play, and that allowed them to win. I know that they made a lot of changes to the lineup, 9 different starters in the lineup last night as opposed to the previous 2 matches. So that does come into play.
I will say, though, isn't it good for them to give the starters a break?
I suppose. I mean, it's Christian Pulisic obviously didn't play in the game against Australia, recovering from the calf injury. He did get in the game last night in the second half and played about 30, 35 minutes. That was good to get, you know, him back on track and get him some playing time before the knockout round. But I would say you're playing these games a week at a time. So is it good to give them some rest? Maybe. The guys who really needed to be on the bench, the decision that I agreed with too were the guys who had yellow cards, because if you acquire another yellow card before the knockout round, if you're already on 1 yellow card, if you get 2, you're going to get suspended for the opening round of the round of 32. So
bench the yellow card, guys. It's not worth it.
Yeah, that was the correct decision by Mauricio Pochettino, the U.S. men's national team head coach. But I just didn't love. I would have been fine with the 2-2 draw. Losing 3-2 left a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth, I'm not going to lie. Okay,
so what happens now? Is this elimination after this, or are they going to do the same thing where they play like 3 games? And
everybody is still, not everybody, but there are still teams that are rounding out group play. That's happening today, and that's going to continue tomorrow. After that, it is the round of 32, and that is a winner-go-home situation from here on out. And we already know that the United States is going to be playing Bosnia and Herzegovina on July 1st in Santa Clara. That is going to be a winner-go-home match for both teams. And the United States, with all the momentum that they've built up until this point, up until last night, really, you could say, that has to rekindle itself now as we move on to the knockout round. So,
well, maybe they wanted to lose last night so that they didn't come in with big expectations on their back.
Well, you're already playing in front of your host country, so I don't know how much more expectation you can really have, but yeah, I'll let it go here in the next couple of days. I'm sure I'll get over it. But there was just something about last night that I just did not love about the fact that they lost.
So how do they match up against Bosnia?
Bosnia is an interesting team because Bosnia, in their opening match, they played Canada and on Canadian soil, by the way, and they were able to force a 1-1 draw. They played Canada awfully tough. They're a team that has, his name escapes me, but there's a guy who's from, I believe he's Milwaukee or Chicago, actually, but chose to play for Bosnia because his family is of Bosnian heritage, so he plays for Bosnia. But this is a game that the United States will be favored to win on paper. It's a game they're expected to win and move on to the round of 16. If they lose this game and get eliminated from the World Cup, it would be an absolute disaster. An absolute disaster. So this is a game that the United States is expected to win. If they do not win it, all this goodwill for the United States team after we saw through the first 2 games is going to quickly go out the door, and everybody's just going to throw their hands up in the air and think to themselves, well, you know, I guess we'll see you again in 4 years.
Okay, and the World Cup, all those games are airing on Fox 9, so you can catch the games on Fox 9. If they're not on Fox 9, they're on Fox Sports
FS1,
North. Yep.
yes.
Switching gears, I'm still recovering from the loss of Naz Reid. I'm getting over it a little bit after talking to some people and actually realizing he wasn't that great of a scorer. He really was just he meant a lot to Minnesotans.
Sure.
It was a good story, and Minnesotans love good stories. They love people who, are underdogs and come back and work hard. Minnesotans love that. I love Naz Reid. I'm still sad. I'm getting over it, though. LaMelo Ball, his dad took to social media last night. Now, this family is something else. They had a reality TV show. His dad is big into marketing his sons. His dad's entire life is marketing his 3 sons. He made big claims that all 3 sons were going to go to the NBA. LaMelo has probably been his only success story.
Lonzo would have been, I still was a believer in Lonzo's talent before his knee just really has given him so much trouble over the last few years. I think Lonzo would have been a really good player in the league.
But the family is like, there's
something
a lot.
Else.
There's something else.
Yeah.
So the dad took to social media yesterday and basically said, good on you, Timberwolves, for picking up my son. Now go pick up my other sons, because LaMelo's going to be no good unless he's got his brothers on the court with him. So the guy is trying to sell the entire family. I think he even threw his wife or ex-wife in there too. Said pick up the mom.
Yeah.
He's trying to sell the entire family to the Wolves franchise. Will they bite?
No, and nor should they. Listen, Lonzo is currently an unrestricted free agent. I don't know if he'll play basketball ever again. LiAngelo, I don't know what LiAngelo Ball is doing with his life these days, I have to be perfectly honest. LaMelo Ball, though, is a very intriguing player. I said it earlier, you want to be the team that ends up with the best player in the deal. LaMelo Ball is the best player in the deal. As maddening as he can be, and I actually was surprised at the vitriol that was spewed upon the Timberwolves by a lot of national media members about this trade, because LaMelo Ball can give you gray hairs, to say the least, with his style of play. It's undeniable that he's turned himself into a great three-point shooter. His court vision is great. He can make the guys around him great. But there are maddening times where you see a bad turnover or an ill-advised shot. Is his style of play going to elevate the Timberwolves to the next stratosphere in terms of competing with the heavy hitters in the Western Conference? That is the question, and I think that is up for debate. Even though I do like the trade in principle, it still leaves a big hole at the power forward position for Minnesota. So this team is far from complete at this point, Court, but LaMelo Ball is a guy that is a tantalizing talent. And he and Anthony Edwards together, I think, are going to make for some special, special nights. There will be nights where you think to yourself, oh boy, I don't know who's going to stop these two on a nightly basis. And there will be some nights where you might think to yourself, why on earth did they make this trade? That is the type of experience you get with LaMelo Ball.
Okay, I want to switch gears now again. Caitlin Clark has been in the news quite a bit.
She's always in the news.
She's always in the, well, she's an incredible basketball player. There's no denying it. And the opponents that she plays against seem to take issue with it because they get quite physical with her. And it was last night or it was a few days ago.
2 nights ago, I think it was.
She was playing against the Phoenix Mercury when Mercury forward Alyssa Thomas, I mean, she choked her. It looked like she choked her. The photo is going viral on social media because of this conduct.
Yeah.
I think Alyssa has faced some consequences.
She is going to serve a 1-game suspension, yes.
She has faced some consequences. What's going on with this incident with Alyssa and Caitlin?
Well, when you look over the video, it does look pretty obvious to me that this was an intentional act, and the referees did go back and look at it in the game and determine it was an intentional act. They issued her a flagrant two. She was ejected. She will be suspended 1 game. I know that the Indiana coaching staff is not very happy about the fact that this call was not made in real time. Again, this was not made in real time. They had to go back and review it and look at the film after the fact, and they missed it in real time. So I know Indiana's coaching staff is not happy about that fact, and they feel the referees should have been a little more on top of things. But this is, to be honest with you, Courtney, I just kind of shrugged my shoulders at this situation now, because this league, for some reason, seems hell-bent on killing the golden goose. And for the life of me, I can't really understand why. And I've heard various reasoning for it. But if you guys want to kill the golden goose, if you guys want to, try to put Caitlin Clark out of a career, go right ahead. I don't care.
And
I don't care.
Think what you're referencing is the fact that there's really no consequences for these players that seem to get obviously physical with her, and they don't face any consequences.
This was a big topic of discussion a couple of years ago and into last year as well. And I know that, like I said, there are various storylines that are associated with Caitlin Clark's involvement in the WNBA and the other players in the WNBA. Some people accuse them of jealousy. Some people accuse them of, not liking her. I don't know. I don't know Caitlin Clark personally. I don't know what she's like as a person, as a teammate. I don't know any of that. What I do know is that she's a fantastic basketball player, and on top of that, she has drawn eyeballs to the league that no other player in the league, in the history of the league, has drawn.
Yep.
So what does that mean for everybody else? I don't really know, but at the same time, the NBA was a failing league at one point, until Magic Johnson and Larry Bird came into the league, and suddenly they just added this new flair and dynamic to the league and elevated the league to a stratosphere that is still being enjoyed today. Caitlin Clark has been talked about, that type of player that can do the very same for the WNBA, but she doesn't seem to be very popular with her constituents. Again, I don't really know the reasoning as to why. And like I said before, if the WNBA isn't going to try to protect its most valuable asset, in my opinion, right now, if it's not going to try to do it, if they seem not to really care, then why should I care? Why should I care?
Pierre said it. He said it.
To be fair, to be perfectly honest, I'll even go one step further. To be perfectly honest, I don't really care that much to begin with.
I know.
I'm not going to lie.
And I asked you to talk about it because it's been all over social media this week.
Well, it's because it's frustrating. This has been extremely frustrating because I love the game.
Yeah.
It's extremely frustrating because this league, I don't know what this league wants to do with itself half the time. People keep telling me all the time that, wow, it's never been more popular. Okay, fine. I mean, in the circles that I run in, and it's various circles, nobody's talking about the WNBA still to this day. I don't get people in my ears saying, hey, did you catch the WNBA game last night? No, I didn't. And then on top of it, too, it's like, oh, well, but we love the WNBA. Okay, name your favorite player outside Caitlin Clark. Nobody can come up with a name.
Miles.
Okay, great. Awesome.
Miles.
Awesome. Good for you. Like, at the same, this is not me trying to bash the WNBA. This is me saying that, like, I think there's so many things that have been overblown about the league in terms of its popularity. Yeah. If it's growing, great. That's great. That's great for us. I mean, more people at Lynx games, more attention to the Lynx. I'm perfectly happy with that. It gives me something to do in the summer. Totally fine with that. But don't try to sell me on this notion that this league is on the upper echelon in terms of competition with the Big Four in the United States. It's not there yet. It's going to take a while for it to get there. I'm not saying it never will get there. It very well could. But there are some things that happen in the league that I just look at and I kind of, I get this face. And
Do you think that this would happen in the NBA with one of their stars? If one of their stars was consistently being beat up on and had an obvious chokehold on her during a game.
I think in this situation in the NBA, the players would police themselves in a way. You would have guys that it's kind of like hockey in a sense. If somebody takes a run at your best player, there's somebody on the bench. I don't know who it'll be, but everybody knows who that guy is on your team that will go out onto the court or go onto the ice. And if you take a run at our best player, you better be ready for what's about to come next. Like, it's that kind of thing. So the players do a good job of kind of policing themselves in that regard. So, in the league, the NBA, I find it to be a consistent league in terms of suspending players, fining players when things get to be a little too overboard. They seem to be very consistent with their messaging in terms of, hey, we're going to tolerate this and we're not going to tolerate that. So I think maybe that's a situation where the WNBA is still trying to find its footing a little bit. They've never had a player of Caitlin Clark's star magnitude. She may not be the best player that ever played in the league. I mean, there were a lot of great players back in the 90s. We're talking about Cheryl Swoops and Cynthia Cooper, Tina Thompson, some of these, Lisa Leslie, Rebecca Lobo, some of these players who are, in my opinion, way better players than Caitlin Clark. Way better players. And I think they've had a much more storied basketball career. You know, Caitlin Clark's career is still young, but those type of players who I think are still, that are better players than Caitlin Clark, they didn't get that kind of fanfare back in the day. So.
And by the way, Caitlin Clark has not addressed this individual incident with this Phoenix player.
She's going to miss the next game too with the back injury, it sounds like, as well.
So she hasn't addressed it. She has generally addressed in broad terms the, the behavior that she has faced, the physical behavior that she has faced, but not accusing specific opponents. I mean, she doesn't seem to want to acknowledge that she may be getting targeted, because many people feel that she is being targeted.
I think it's a lose-lose situation for her.
Yeah.
If she does come out and say it, then I think that probably will make her an even bigger target with some of the other players around the league. And if she is trusting the WNBA to take care of this situation and try to find a way to protect her and make sure that these things don't happen, it seems like the league, I don't know if I would go all the way as to say that they failed in this regard, because like we said, that player is being suspended one game, so they did do something. And that's probably the maximum they're going to be able to suspend that individual. So, but at the same time, I don't get the impression that the WNBA appreciates Caitlin Clark. I don't get that impression at all. At all. Not at all. That's not the impression that I get.
Yeah, and I think that that's the impression that the general public gets as well when you just look on social media and look at what people are saying. So, Pierre Nugent, we love having you on the show.
Great to be back.
Great to be back. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk West Nile virus and mosquitoes. Look at that left turn from sports to mosquitoes. Stay with us. welcome back. Thanks for joining us. Well, the first mosquitoes with West Nile virus have been detected here in the Twin Cities. They were found in Hennepin, Ramsey, and Dakota counties. Alex Carlson from the Metropolitan Mosquito Control District joins me now. Alex, thanks for joining us to talk about this topic.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So what do these first cases tell you about what we should expect this season?
Well, right now it tells us we're right on schedule because we do have West Nile virus every year, and it's usually the first indicator before there's human cases is we find mosquito pools that test positive, and we average around the beginning of July, and so we're maybe a week or two earlier, but pretty much right on schedule for when we expect to start seeing West Nile in mosquitoes.
So last year was the worst year on record in Minnesota for West Nile?
Yes, we had the most human cases since the disease first came here. Yeah.
What contributed to that, do you think?
There was a couple of factors. One, we had a lot of rain, which contributed to just more mosquito habitat. We saw an early season increase in the specific species that carries West Nile. They're typically a late summer mosquito, so they start off really slow and then they gradually increase as we head into the hotter summer months. And they peaked earlier last year. So that high activity period earlier meant that there was more mosquitoes when there was a lot of rain and a lot of activity. So translated to more human cases. So that all kind of contributed to last year being a bad year.
So with these tests, we know that there are mosquitoes with West Nile in Hennepin, Ramsey, and Dakota counties. How does it transmit? How does it go from one mosquito to another, to human? How does it get around?
Yeah, so actually the host animal of West Nile virus is birds. So birds will carry West Nile virus. Birds can spread it among themselves, and then a mosquito will bite an infected bird, and that same mosquito bites a person. So the specific species that can carry West Nile, they're not born with West Nile. They have to first bite a bird. So that's another reason why it's kind of a later season, because it takes time for the mosquitoes to be active enough to bite the bird and then start biting people. Yeah, and so most birds are not harmed by West Nile, but some corvids, so ravens, blue jays, and crows have about a 99% mortality. So sometimes dead crows could be an indicator that there's also West Nile in an area.
Are there certain species of mosquito? Because I think we have like 50 different species of mosquito here in Minnesota.
You remember from previous mosquito stories.
Yeah, I do, and I do my research on before I take to the desk here on this show. Are there certain species of mosquito that are more prone to carrying West Nile?
Yes, there's a species called the Culex family of mosquitoes, and they are standing water breeding mosquitoes. So they find areas of standing water naturally, but also human-made habitats like piles of tires or roadside drainage ditches and catch basins and things like that. So those are the only species in Minnesota that carries West Nile.
Okay, so standing water
yes.
is the issue here.
Yes.
So around your house, what is some advice you can give people about? No, because sometimes there might be standing water around your house and you aren't even aware of it.
Yeah.
What's your advice for making sure you can clear that standing water and where to look for standing water?
Yeah, I mean, look throughout your entire yard. If you have a large yard, you might have to walk it every time it rains just to make sure there's nothing that's capturing that rainwater, because it doesn't take very long. It only takes a couple days for that rainwater to start to stagnate, and then mosquitoes will fly in and produce their eggs, and then we'll have more mosquitoes.
Do you need a big pool of water, or will
no.
they'll take a little?
We found
pool?
it in a jelly jar lid, like little tiny bits of water is all that it takes.
Okay.
It's going to be most likely in larger standing water. So if you have a big, like you have a boat with a tarp on it, it's filled with water, there are going to be a lot of mosquitoes there. But anything that holds water can become mosquito habitat.
Wow. Okay, so definitely walk your yard after a heavy rainfall, because you'll probably find some areas.
Yeah.
What are most effective things that people can do to prevent themselves from getting a mosquito bite?
Yeah, I mean, the best thing is the basic things that people do to avoid mosquitoes. So wear insect repellent, make sure it's a legitimate, EPA registered insect repellent, long, light, loose, long sleeves, light colors, loose fitting, avoid being active during their peak activity time, which is evening and early morning, and just try to, do everything you can to stay bite free.
Light colored clothing.
Yeah. Yeah, the mosquitoes don't have the best vision, so they're more attracted to bright colors. So if you're wearing bright colors or dark colors, they'll find you easier than somebody who's wearing like tan or gray or more neutral colors like that.
Okay, interesting. So when you're talking about putting on bug spray, like, should I be putting on bug spray like I put on a daily sunscreen? Because usually I put on bug spray when I'm like going hiking.
Yes.
Or I'm going camping. But should I be putting a daily bug spray on?
Mosquitoes are vampires, so they don't like direct sunlight. So if you're going to be out during the typical daylight hours, you're not going to need bug spray. It's if you're going to be out right when the sun starts to go down and the humidity starts to rise, that's when all of a sudden they'll start to come out. So that if you're outside, every night, it's probably good to have some bug spray, in your backpack or in your car. Put it on if you're going to be out. kids' baseball games and stuff like that.
That is, throw the bug spray in the bag
Yeah.
along with the sunscreen and
Yes.
the water and the blanket when you're going out to all these kids events or any
Yeah.
event this summer. What does surveillance look for your with your agency, especially when you have, now you have cases.
Yep.
Like, does it change your surveillance and does it change the areas that you're targeting?
Yeah, it does in the sense that where we have those positive samples start to show up, we might go set some additional traps in those areas just to see if it was a one-off or if there's a lot of mosquitoes in that area that are carrying the disease. And then we also do some additional larval surveillance where we're checking the standing water and we're trying to identify are those the specific species that carry West Nile, and then we'll try to mitigate that.
How do you track where the West Nile is?
So we set up every Monday night throughout the summer, we set up about 200 traps that collect mosquitoes. And then we bring those samples back to our entomology lab and they identify them. And if they are those Culex mosquitoes, we'll have them separated out and we can actually test them on site. So usually that's how we find them. We collect them every Monday night. And we're kind of heading to the time of season when we're going to see more and more of those Culex mosquitoes. So every time we have enough to test, we'll do another round of testing.
Do you have an idea yet of where this summer stands as far as mosquito activity?
It's too early to say for sure, but there's a couple good signs. One, it's been relatively dry. It's a lot drier than last summer, so hopefully that means fewer overall mosquitoes, which could mean fewer West Nile cases. And then there's Culex tarsalis is the specific species that really loves to bite both humans and birds pretty much equally. Those species are lower than they were at this time last year, so that's a good sign that we're headed for at least an average year, if not below average, but it's too early to know for sure.
Should people be concerned? I mean, people watching might hear West Nile. They found West Nile in Minnesota. Do they need to be concerned?
No, the important thing to remember is we have West Nile cases every year, and 90+% cases are asymptomatic. So young, healthy people will get West Nile from a mosquito bite and they won't even know they have it. So most people don't need to take any major concerns. But older people that compromise immune systems, those are the ones that are most susceptible. And we do have cases of hospitalizations, some deaths every year from West Nile. So you want to make sure that you're telling your parents, your grandparents, really make sure they're taking precautions. And then anybody who's concerned, put on that bug spray just to be safe.
What are the symptoms of West Nile? Because
Yeah.
it's summer in Minnesota, I'm getting bit constantly.
Yes.
So I wouldn't know if I got bit by a mosquito with West Nile necessarily.
Yeah, so West Nile is an encephalitis, so it presents with flu-like symptoms. It can attack the brainstem, fever, nausea, some muscle aches, things like that. If it feels like the flu but it's a lot worse than the flu, then you might want to go in and just get it checked out.
Interesting. Okay. Well, so interesting. I mean, mosquitoes are a part of life here in Minnesota, unfortunately. Not
Yes.
to be worried, there is West Nile, but you guys are taking care of it. And you are actively spraying right now, right?
We're doing larval treatments. So anywhere that we find areas of standing water that hold, especially those disease vector mosquitoes, we go out with helicopters if it's a large area. If it's a small area, we treat it by hand. We're doing those larval treatments right now. If we find extremely elevated cases, then we'll respond with adult mosquito control, and that's the backpack spraying or truck-mounted foggers.
Can people report like areas of high mosquito?
Yes, yeah, we love when people call us and tell us anything that's unusual, whether it's mosquitoes or ticks. You're finding, higher than normal in certain areas. Sometimes it's, a neighbor left out a kiddie pool and it's full of water and that's where they're coming from. And so we like to know that. So call us and we can come check it out and do everything we can.
What about these, before you go, I want to ask you,
Yeah.
what about these home treatments? These,
Yeah.
mosquito guys can come out and spray your yard. Are they effective?
It depends on the type of yard that you have. So
Okay.
like if you have a typical suburban plot that's, surrounded by other houses with not a lot of, forest or areas, it's only have a medium effect. But if you do back up to the woods or if you have a lot of, overgrown plants and things like that, that can be effective.
Okay, very interesting. All right, the first mosquitoes carrying West Nile virus have been detected here in the Twin Cities, but Alex has assured us not to worry. It's going to be okay. You guys are monitoring.
We're
there.
on it.
You're on it at the Metropolitan Mosquito Control District. So thank you so much for joining us, Alex.
Yeah.
We sure appreciate it when you come in.
Thanks for having me.
We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with a look at your weather forecast after this. back. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. It is going to be a hot one starting Saturday and Sunday. It starts to heat up on Saturday, but then Sunday it gets to be pure scorcher. Cody Matz joins us now.
It's chaos. It's chaos.
Everybody run for the hills.
Yeah.
Which literally you might want to. Just run up north where it might be a little cooler.
Yeah, and then down the hill, because the top of the hill at Duluth gets hot, but it's the bottom of the hill. You want to get close to the lake. So.
Okay, so not Hermantown.
No.
I was thinking like way up north. I was thinking like Grand Marais north.
Oh, well, that works too.
Yeah, that'll be nice and
How
cool.
about Hudson Bay?
Hudson Bay sounds good too. Let's go on.
Good luck driving there. There are no roads to there, by the way.
Don't even know where that is.
Hudson
Sounds
Bay,
lovely.
way North Canada.
Okay, good.
Okay.
It's going to be very hot.
Getting there.
Starts to heat up Saturday.
I mean, a little bit. We're trending that direction. So this
Right.
is not going to be a jump in scenario necessarily. Today, obviously, still very nice. There are. I could sit up a little bit. There you go.
You're tall, Cody.
I get a little schlumpy.
Our cameras weren't ready for that.
It's fair. So we're not like jumping into the deep end immediately. So today, very nice. I do actually have a couple of tiny, itty bitty little showers out there and some clouds. Still very nice out there. Temperatures in the upper 70s today. And then I love that you're looking at that right now.
I am.
So pull up the Fox 9 weather page.
I have the Fox 9 weather page on my computer all day. I do.
I'm not surprised. So we're going to talk more about that in a second, and I actually want to talk a little bit about a couple of things that all weather apps suck at. You're going to get more than you bargained for. Just wait.
Go ahead, Cody.
Let's talk forecast first. So tomorrow we start to get a little more moisture around here. Temperatures should go up a little bit, maybe 3-4 degrees from today. So today and tomorrow, pretty standard warmth, some humidity, not too shabby. It's Sunday, we really try to jump in. What will be interesting about Sunday, though, is Sunday's warmth is entirely dependent on what happens with thunderstorm chances getting into Saturday night. So a lot of times when warm air moves from one region to another region, in the country, it's basically a lifting mechanism in the atmosphere, and so a lot of times you can get thunderstorms kind of at the leading edge of that. So there is at least some scattered thunderstorm potential Saturday night. If that lingers into Sunday a bit, that may tamper down some of the heat for Sunday itself. I'm not saying it's going to be super comfortable, but we may hit an 86 as opposed to a 90. So we'll see what happens Sunday. Monday, we are jumping in. Like, that's our jump off point. We kick out the thunderstorm chances. Monday, we are all in for solid 90s, if not close to 100 in some spots, especially in central and southern Minnesota. We're talking heat index 105 to 110. It is going to be blistering hot. Then we take a little step back on Tuesday, and then we may introduce periodic thunderstorm chances, especially in the evening and overnight hours, which may hinder some of the heat a little bit. But again, we're talking, instead of 93, maybe 89. So it is going to be very warm. It's going to be very steamy as we get through next week. We'll just see if we can actually get to the low 90s each day, kind of depending on thunderstorm opportunities.
You want to give a pitch for our weather app?
I'm quite the opposite. So here's the thing. Weather apps are great for certain things. That includes the Fox 9 weather app. Honestly, the Fox 9 weather app for near term, for local conditions, for radar, for notifications, for severe weather. Honestly, I've downloaded like 50 apps and given them a whirl. Top 3 easily, and they don't pay me to say this. I mean, they do pay me, but there's gonna be a caveat here. But honestly, so it's really good. Most weather apps are very good for near term. What does near term mean? Basically the next 6 hours, okay? Past that, in terms of forecasting, so looking at a forecast on any single weather app, does include the Fox 9 weather app. They all have the same components. They all use the same thing. They just dress it up differently. They all suck. Every single one of them. And here's why. And I've talked a lot about this on the show. I have made no secret about this. So they all suck because each one is tied into geolocation. If you're not familiar with geolocation, it basically finds your lat long, so where you're sitting right at this very second. And the only way to get a forecast for that specific location anywhere you go is to have a computer do it. There aren't enough humans in the world to be able to forecast that. So they basically insert computer model here. Well, computer models have limitations. And so whatever they decide to forecast is what happens at that geolocation at that time. It doesn't matter if it's actually going to occur or not. That's what a meteorologist, human does, is we as meteorologists look at said computer model and go, nope, that's not going to happen. Well, the computer model doesn't know that, and the weather app doesn't know that. We have there's no stopgap. So, for example, I actually looked at our forecast today, and it said at my house it was going to rain from 4:30, rain moderately, not just rain, but rain moderately was the wording, from 4:30 to 5:15. No, it's not. It's not going to do that. So folks that don't understand that or don't know that or don't know to question that are like, oh crap, it's going to rain from 4:30 to 5:15 at my house today. And then when it doesn't, that individual thinks, well, all meteorologists are wrong. No, it's just like the phone is wrong. So if you want an accurate forecast, you still have to go to some sort of human. There still has to be some sort of human interaction to say, no, that's not going to happen, or yes, that's going to happen. Now, do we as humans also get it wrong sometimes? Sure, because we're not perfect either. So they all kind of have their limitations. And so I just want to say, on a daily perspective, is easier than hour by hour, especially when it comes to a phone. So that the Apple, whatever the Apple widget is, or whatever they call the widget, or Android widgets, those are honestly the worst. Just throw those out. If you want to look at like a current temperature, like, hey, it's 77 outside, it's fine. That's great. But in terms of a forecast, chuck it. Throw it away.
And just watch Cody Matz every morning on Fox 9. From 4 a.m. to
4:30. You got to at least know the showtime. And it's honestly, it's any human is better than no human in terms of a forecast. So go to the Weather Service. This is a proponent for my job as well, but every other meteorologist job, like you still need a human involved for certain things. There are certain things that an app can do that are honestly way better, like the severe weather notifications on here come straight from what we get from the Weather Service. So honestly, you're going to be alerted on your phone faster than we can alert you. So again, there's great sides to technology. That's a great side to technology. You can learn instantly. But in forecasting, human is still better.
Thank you for coming to this TED Talk.
Hey, you brought it up. Look at the weather map over there. So just throw that out there. I can teach you how to read radar too. For example, so the radar that comes up, I'm gonna get in your way. I'm sorry. Some education on this broadcast. So the radar that comes up, most people that look at radar on their phone go, oh, it's raining in these locations. Just because it shows that it's potentially showing up on radar here, doesn't mean it's actually reaching the ground. So most of this, if not all of it, not actually hitting the ground.
Okay. Thank you for that. Come back anytime.
You're never going to have me back, are you?
Yeah, I think that was your goal. I'm a little shell-shocked by all the information I just received.
Sorry.
I'm deleting all the weather apps on my phone, and we'll only tune in to Fox 9. So
perfect. My job here is done.
And on that note, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with the owner of Sea Salt Eatery to talk all about her, not the owner, to talk about her new cookbook that's coming out soon. Stay with us. Welcome back to Fox 9 All Day. If you have ever stopped in to take in the Minnehaha Falls, you've probably stopped at Sea Salt Eatery in Minneapolis. It's a seasonal restaurant there at Minnehaha Falls. And now there is a cookbook that's going to cover the history and the recipes that made this eatery so famous. Gail Rosenblum is one of the authors of the book. She joins me now. Gail, thanks for joining us.
Oh, I'm happy to be here. I love this segment on the weather because, weather and Sea Salt Eatery go hand in hand, let me tell you.
That is true. If it's raining, it's not good for business. It's sea salt.
Very true, very true.
What made you want to write this cookbook?
So I want to clarify that in my wonderful daughter-in-law, Kate Zemer Davis, is one of the co-owners of Sea Salt Eatery, and I am her very proud mother-in-law and also a journalist. I was at the Star Tribune for many, many years, and always love to tell a good story. And Kate, about 3 years ago, mentioned to me that Sea Salt was going to be turning 20, which I thought was incredible because it's such an unlikely success story, really. 20 years. It's only seasonal, so most people who go there know it's only open 6 months of the year. It's in landlocked Minnesota, and it's selling seafood. And so it really was just this delightful tale to tell about, how it has found its way to this incredible success and is really truly beloved by Minnesotans and people outside of Minnesota who are flying through town and jump in a cab or an Uber to come over and grab a meal before they head off somewhere else. It's really just something that everyone wants to experience in the summer.
Like you said, it's more than just recipes. I understand that you interviewed the founders, you interviewed employees, you interviewed longtime customers.
Yes.
Talk to me about that.
So that was really fun, and I really deferred to Kate on who she thought I should talk to. So of course, talk to the owners. John Blood is the sort of the brains behind the whole beautiful restaurant. When he was little, he was fishing as a boy, had this dream of a fish shack. His story is incredible, but all roads really lead back to him. And I interviewed his first cousin, Bill Blood, who now has the sandwich room at Sea Salt, and is also one of the co-owners. Chris Waglensky, who was originally there. Suzanne Weinstein, who many people in the Twin Cities will know as the founder of Coastal Seafoods. These key people who really early on played such a key role, and also had a lot of fun interviewing the regulars, the fans who were there on the first day, and lots of wonderful young people who work there summer after summer after summer. So they find jobs. They want to be at Sea Salt for the season, so they find part-time jobs in other parts of the year, so they can come back to Sea Salt and work the whole season there. They have that kind of loyalty and devotion to the place. So it really was, and then I went into the history of the place as well. So it was really just a lot of fun as a writer, as you can imagine, to be able to tell the story. And then Kate and her team at Sea Salt pulled together some of the most cherished recipes that you can order and retested them over the winter months for home cooks. So they make batches of things, as you can imagine, for hundreds of people. So they had to retest everything and reformulate it so that they had these recipes in the cookbook for a home cook, 2 to 4 people.
What are some of the recipes that you'll find in the book?
Oh my
that
gosh.
you love to enjoy at Sea Salt?
Here it is. I mean, so many things. I love the. I'm just gonna pull it up since you. But the sexy ahi tuna burger is my favorite. Everybody has their favorites. There's red beans and rice. There's crab cakes. There's walleye. It goes on and on and on. These incredible tacos. And I think what I would say to you is these are really accessible for home cooks. So I think a lot of people have a tendency to fear fish, making seafood at home or fish at home. They did a really good job, I think, of putting together recipes for the home cook who may feel comfortable with meat or burgers or whatever, but just are a little intimidated by fish. They made it easy to recreate these recipes at home with confidence.
And what about the crab avocado?
Yeah. I mean, so good. Yeah.
also in the cookbook.
Yes, it is. Yes.
Okay, wonderful.
Right.
Sea Salt Eatery has become quite the institution in Minneapolis. What is it that drew people to this place? I mean, obviously it's got a very unique location, and
Yeah.
it is, it is only seasonal, but
Yeah.
it's stuck around, which is very
Yeah.
rare in the restaurant
Yes.
business.
It's a great question, and we pondered it a lot, and I even address it in the cookbook. I think part of it is this magical kind of enmeshment of the place, the location right at the falls, this beautiful regional park, great food. People are willing to stand in lines for up to 2 hours to eat there. I think it's because it becomes more than just eating. I think it becomes an experience. I think people come and they bring their kids and their dogs, and they enjoy the park. They have a beautiful meal. They sit outside. They go to the falls. They get the photo. People I interviewed talk about how they're there for birthdays and anniversaries and first dates. And I think it is all of it together. And we did talk about had sea salt not landed where it did, which is right there at the falls, would it have been so successful? I don't know. That's for other people to decide. But I think it was everything. And also just the food is great. Obviously, I love eating there. Food is great. And it's just the ambiance is great. So it's just an experience. And when I interviewed people, they all talked about how much they love going there, just for all of those reasons.
Yeah, for the entire experience,
Yeah.
not only the food. I read that when they open with just a grill and propane fryer,
Yeah.
long before a full kitchen was
Yeah.
installed.
Yeah.
So you go back to the roots of this restaurant.
Yeah, I go back. So I go back even further than that, all the way back to the early 1900s when it was the building. I think people are surprised to hear that the building has been there for over 100 years. So it didn't become sea salt until 20 years ago, but the building had been there. So when they started in 2005, they were these young visionaries, but they weren't thinking completely straight. So they decided to start this kind of crazy idea of just, frying out on a propane. It was kind of a funny start. But then they soon after that established a kitchen, and things have been growing. They've been renovating over the years. They've added elements to make it, when you go there now, it's an incredibly well-oiled machine there. You can see how many people work there and how efficient it is. But if you go back 20 years, you wouldn't have believed it would have been, this big and successful, I think.
I read that the first summer generated about $250,000, and within 2 years, they had more than tripled sales. So the popularity grew pretty quickly.
Yeah, I think word of mouth. I think people, were surprised when they would. So many people go through the fall, or drive. There's beautiful bike paths and people heading, in different directions. I think people caught the eye of the place and decided to, check it out. And word of mouth, I think, helped it to grow. And its sales have exceeded, every year exceeds the year before. And they have added some elements to the menu, but honestly, the things that you loved 20 years ago, you can probably still find there. They have their specials, but the things that people love to order are constants there. I think one thing that they have really expanded on is their beverage choices. They've got fantastic selection of great beers, mostly local. Also, lots of NA options now because that's a growing industry as well. So, people come and do that, and they just added the sandwich room last year. That was Bill Blood's idea. So, if you are in a hurry, you don't want to stand in that long line, you can go into the pavilion and order fantastic sandwiches to go. As you're kind of riding your bike through that gorgeous regional park.
Yeah, because the line there can get quite long, especially on nice days and on weekends.
Yeah.
Gail, your background is as a newspaper editor.
Yeah.
You're a columnist at the Star Tribune.
Yeah.
How did that help you when writing this?
Well, it was, I think my whole career, so I was in the business for 40 years, more than 40 years. The last 24 years, very proud to say I was at the Star Tribune. And I think all of us share this love of a great story. And so I had a sense that there was a great story there. And I said to Kate, would you like to collaborate on the cookbook? And she jumped right in. And then we reached out to University of Minnesota Press, who were so great to work with, because everyone there also loves sea salt. It was the easiest sale of my life, let me just tell you, in terms of a writing project. But even I was surprised by how deep and interesting the story was. I was uncovering all sorts of things. So as a journalist, that's super fun because you don't really know going in. You have a sense that there's a story there, but you don't know really where you're going to be going. So for me, it was a delight as a journalist to just talk to people and have so much fun. And I did it as a retired journalist, so it's a labor of love for me, and just and such a fun project to do with my daughter-in-law, to be able to see the world that she is in. They work so hard 6 months of the year. They are there morning to night, day after day after day, with no break for 6 months, and then they get that well-deserved 6 months off before they come back and do it again.
Now, the owner has resisted expanding and opening other locations, franchising the restaurant, what have you. Did you dig into that in the book?
I addressed it, and it's true. John Blood, and I think he's right. He loves, so John's a fisherman, that won't surprise you. And he loves to take that time off and go, just disappear and in the solitude of fishing. And I think if they were to expand, the magic might be lost. There's so much magic about this place. And I think they're wise. It's big enough. They don't need to grow. And I think it's that, and also the fact that everyone really loves that time off. I think if you expand, you are going to give up the freedom of all those months away to just sort of regroup and re-energize.
Okay, Sea Salt Eatery, the
Thank you.
cookbook. Gail Rosenblum, where can we buy the book?
So we are having on July 15th, if you're free, Moon Palace Books in South Minneapolis. We are going to have an official launch that night at 7 p.m. University of Minnesota Press. You can pre-order it now. And also, please go to your favorite independent bookstore. They're all going to be carrying it.
Wonderful. Gail, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Congratulations on the release
Thank you.
of this book. Like she said, it'll be in local bookstores after July 15th.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. We're going to take a quick break. After this, we are going to talk about all the things that are happening this weekend in the Twin Cities, all the options on varying budgets. Stay with us. welcome back in studio one of my lovely producers, Kara Savage, joining me now. We've also got Grace Henry in the control room. This is the segment that we like to call Join In With Us, Kara.
I'm joining.
Bougie Basic Budget. Good job, you guys. We do this every week where we each get assigned a different budget, $500, $150, $50, and then we go make weekend plans.
Yep.
So we're all going to decide what we're doing with our Saturday here in Minnesota. Let's start with the budget. So this is the $50.
That is me. I had the budget this week, and I did build graphics, but it's Friday, and for whatever reason, they are all messed up. So I'm just gonna have to go through and read my notes. But yeah, we're gonna go to Pride this weekend. We've been talking about it all show long. It is today and tomorrow and Sunday, and free admission in Loring Park. They're telling people to use the Spot Hero parking app if you want to drive. They're offering different deals depending on where you want to park. Still about $20 a parking spot. So if you use Spot Hero, that's definitely something you need to budget in. But Metro Transit is offering a free ride pass. You just have to fill out a form online. And of course, they have multiple locations where if you want a bike, you can lock up your bikes and drop them off. So they're expecting really large crowds. This year, they're having over 600 unique vendors to explore. They are created stickers to identify vendors who are people of color, who are LGBTQ operated, and they have a whole guide on their website where you can learn more about all these different vendors. And this year, something fun is they're going to have the world's largest rubber duck. I don't really know why. I probably should have read up a little bit more on it.
Will it be floating in the pond there at Loring Park?
I don't think so, but it is, I've seen pictures of it. It's pretty large, so it'll be a great photo op. I know people love seeing different quirky things that are the world's largest, so that'll be at Pride this weekend, and
don't forget about the parade.
The
parade
parade
also takes place tomorrow, I believe.
The parade's on Sunday.
Sunday.
Yeah,
okay,
the parade's on
Sunday. I was wrong.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Sunday the parade takes place in downtown Minneapolis. That's always a fun time to see all the groups that are walking in the parade.
Yep.
And so where you're talking about going is actually like
Loring. It's the Pride Festival where there's vendors, booths set up. But yep, the parade is Sunday at 11 a.m. Attendees, you can line up along Hennepin Avenue, beginning at 3rd and Hennepin and concluding at Spruce. So yeah, make sure if you're going to the parade route, get there early, or you probably won't get a spot. I mean, but yeah, you can use your Spot Hero parking app for that, or like I said, Metro Transit is offering free rides.
Amazing. Sounds like a lovely Saturday and Sunday, Grace. And you're going to get it all done for $50. I mean, Pride Festival's free.
Yeah. $50, yep. And so the 50 can be used for spending money if you're driving, of course. But yeah, it's a really great, affordable option.
There are a lot. There is.
You can always walk over to Brits after and watch the World Cup game and get a beer.
There you go.
There you go, Kara.
Mix
you just
in
planned
too.
this everyone's weekend.
There you go.
Mix in a few things.
All right, and the basic budget. So, Kara, you had $150 to play with this weekend. What are we doing?
We're gonna go to the Buffalo Rodeo.
I love that.
So
for
it's I've never been to a rodeo.
Me either, but I'm
so,
intrigued.
And I feel like I've always I should go to one, and I don't. But the Buffalo Rodeo is the oldest professional rodeo in Minnesota. They started in 1955. And on their website, the way to describe it is it's like oh, sorry, Grace, I think I put a type, there's a typo on that. It's supposed to say PRCA, Professional Rodeo. Sorry about that, that's completely my fault. So the way they describe it on the website is the PRCA is like the NHL or the NFL, but for rodeo. So it's a big deal.
Okay, so there are going to be people, I don't know how you say it. Do you say performing or riding? I don't know.
Riding, or competing. People
competing.
There are
Thank
people
you.
competing.
There will be people competing from all over the country.
I would assume so. I was trying to find a lineup and I couldn't find one, but I'm assuming that I would assume so.
You were trying to find a lineup like it's a music festival?
Oh, like a roster. Sorry, that's the word. So Yeah, and then they have a whole thing. They have like they started off with what's it called? Impressive grand entry led by flag girls and rodeo queens. So there's
great.
there's like a royalty to it, and it just seems like a great culture. And we've got some extra money, so it's $150. Tickets are $25 each. So then we will. You've got $100 then to just spend on some food and drinks. There's a barbecue spot that has a stand there. It looks really good.
I can jump in. It's the Big Boar Barbecue.
Yeah.
That's where we get takeout for my dad's birthday, for Father's Day. Best barbecue in Minnesota, in my opinion.
Their website, they sell it. It looks really good. I had to eat my lunch a little early today.
That's what sold Kara on the rodeo was the barbecue that they'll be offering.
Yeah.
But they have vendors there.
Yes.
I'm assuming that they've got beer and food
Yeah.
and all the stuff. What I'm curious about, where is this held in Buffalo? Like, is there an area? Do you call it a corral? I'm so not a horse person.
Okay, so there's a permanent spot for rodeos in
There
Buffalo.
is. Who knew?
Because like it's such an iconic thing in Buffalo. And so they hold other events there throughout the year besides rodeos, but they also have like a high school rodeo thing that's in August. I saw. It seems
Cool.
awesome.
I'm into it.
I would put on some cowgirl boots and go. Maybe, like,
I love to
get into
cosplay.
it.
I love to cosplay
Yeah.
a cowgirl. Let me tell you, I am such a city girl. It's not even funny.
Oh, same.
I was raised in San Francisco, California. There is no part of me that is cowgirl, but I love to cosplay a cowgirl for an event like this,
Yes.
a country music concert or a rodeo.
I would literally wear this outfit and some cowgirl boots.
You look ready.
It's
You
meant to
look
be.
ready for the rodeo, Buffalo Rodeo this weekend, Saturday only, or is it on Sunday as well?
It started on Thursday. It started yesterday, actually.
Okay.
So last night was family night, and then it's tonight and then tomorrow, and doors open at 5.
Great.
Events start at 7, and then there's a band after.
Okay, wonderful. Love the rodeo. On a totally different note, we're all doing such different things. I'll be going to the Breakaway Music Festival at Allianz Field in St. Paul because I just scream EDM
Yes,
fan?
100%.
I mean,
Yeah.
you look
You're
at
a
me.
raver. You're a raver.
You look at me and you just say, that girl goes to raves, for sure.
You've got a secret rave wardrobe.
Yes.
For sure.
I would pay money to see that.
Yes. So the Breakaway Music Festival is hitting Allianz Field. This is the third time that they've come to Minnesota. It's an EDM music festival. They've got some popular acts coming on Saturday. I'm going to go on Saturday. There's also a show tonight. So if you want to see Griffin or Adventure Club Disco Lines there tonight. Tomorrow, Zed, Subtronics, Knock 2, Levity, San Holo. If any of those names ring a bell to you, they'll be performing tomorrow at Allianz Field. This is a festival that actually tours the nation. There is 20 national and local DJs and electronic artists across multiple stages, and they go to about a dozen U.S. cities every year. Like I said, the third time that they've been to Minnesota, to Allianz Field. The tickets are pretty pricey. They are $200 a piece, $203 to be exact. Because it is an EDM festival, I'm going to take an Uber there. And then I'm gonna have $50 left over for food and drink. So there you go, Breakaway Music Festival in St. Paul this weekend. So there you have it. Things to do in the Twin Cities for various
different things.
Various budgets.
Well, guys, we made it through the week. This was our first week doing 3 hours, and we made it. There were some technical mishaps, but we did it.
Just barely, Grace. Just barely.
Oh, come on.
That is going to do it for us here today. Thank you for joining us this week. That was our Bougie Basic Budget. Love to bring you those options for the weekend. And that's our show for today. We hope you'll join us again on Monday starting at 11. I take over at the desk here starting at 2.